Hi, this is Brett from Programming. Welcome to the Learn Python Programming for Beginners set of tutorials. In this very first tutorial, we're going to have a look at Python. Why Python? Why would you want to learn how to program using Python? We will then go and install Python, and then once installed, we'll check that it's working correctly. Requirements for these tutorials, not many really. I expect that you have a desire to learn how to program. I don't expect you to have any prior programming knowledge. Also, I do expect you to have a basic fluency with computers and your operating system. Okay, with that out of the way, why Python? Python is an exceptionally well-designed programming language. It has a very clean and straightforward syntax. Out of the box, it comes with an extensive standard library, meaning that once you install Python, you don't have to do Google searches for additional libraries. Everything's there for you to start programming. At least initially, all of your programming needs can be met with the programming with the standard library that comes with Python. Good third-party support. Python has a huge ecosystem around it now. Lots of organizations using it, lots of tools, lots of libraries, and whatnot. Also, Python is multi-platform, meaning that if you develop a Python program on Windows, it should run without any or very few changes on Mac OS X or Linux, and vice versa. Python is a very mature language. It's used by numerous high-profile organizations. As far as I'm aware, YouTube is implemented with Python. It's used extensively within Google. HP uses Python, IBM, NASA, all examples of organizations and companies that use Python. Also, Python is becoming basically the de facto language for scientific use. Finally, just as an example where you can find Python in the wild, I use a 3D animation suite called Blender 3D. This application has Python embedded in it so that you can use Python to program within this application. Again, just an example of where you can find Python. Right, let's go and install Python. We need to go to the python.org website and go to the Downloads menu. Choose your operating system, and then you'll be shown a list of all of the available Python versions to download. Choose the latest version. Currently, that's 3.4.0. Then that takes you to a page showing you all of the major new features for the 3.4 series. We just carry on scrolling down until we get to this link that takes us to the download page. Once here, all you need to do is choose your operating system, either Mac, Windows, or another operating system. So for Mac, you would choose this one, and for Windows, you would choose this one. Click on it, download it. I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to do that again. Once it's downloaded, let's have a look. Go to the Downloads folder. Here it is. Sorry, here it is. Click on that. On Windows, do the same. It will just open up the standard installation wizard. In Mac, you go to Open with, Installer, say yes, and then you get the installer, and it will be very similar on Windows. Just click through the installation steps and we'll pay attention to the corresponding installation options. Continue, continue, continue. Yes, we agree with the license that we have obviously read. Leave the install location as is, the default value is fine. Install. Provide a password. I imagine that on Windows you would have to do the same. Provide an administrator password. Provide my password. And installing software. I'm going to close down some windows, and I'll close this, minimize this one. Python should install quite quickly unless you have an older system, but normally it will only take a moment or two, under a minute or 2 minutes at the most to install. Let's see. There you go. Almost. Come on, there you go. Right, now we have Python installed. The first thing that we need to do then is to actually check that everything is installed correctly. On Windows, click on the Start menu, search for a folder called Python 3.4, open it up, and you'll see a couple of applications there. On Mac, we will do a search and we will open up idle. On Windows, you will click on the same application as well. IDLE, I think it stands for Integrated Development Language Environment. For all intents and purposes, it's just a console where we can type in Python commands and statements and expressions, and the Python interpreter will evaluate them and give back results. On a Mac, you get this warning, this one here, but for what we're going to be using this Python, the IDLE application for, it's of no real consequence to us. But you can see that Python 3.4.0 is installed, so we are basically ready to go. At the prompt, you can type any valid Python expression, statement, and it should evaluate it and give it back to you, and give a result back to you. So we can do stuff like 3 + 4, 7, 250 divided by 5. There you go. Now some text. Programming, and it should give that back to you. If I make an error, it should also tell me that, and it's just saying that Brett is not defined at Brett my name. Right, that's it basically. We've had a brief overview of why Python, why would you want to learn to program with Python. We've installed Python and we've checked that it's working. I'm going to close this down, quit. And then basically our next tutorial, what's that going to be? We're going to have, in our next tutorial, we're going to be installing the PyCharm IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. As it stands now, we could program with Python. With what we have installed today, you can program with Python. An IDE just provides you with a more productive environment, and you'll see why next week once we've installed it, why I recommend that we do our programming with Python, with the PyCharm IDE. Right, for more information, you can go to the uProgramming website. Let's have a look at that. There you go. You can find more information about the Python tutorials, courses, and whatnot. And basically, I hope to have you around for the next tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Goodbye.